This season has officially entered worst case scenario territory. Today it's come out that Jalen Suggs has a trochlea injury in his left knee and could potentially be out for the rest of the season. Today we're going to talk about this injury, how the Orlando Magic were able to kind of keep this in-house, and what is going to happen moving forward for Suggs and for the organization. But guys, welcome in to Magic Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content. And I just made a video. I made a video on the Warriors game from last night, which kind of broke everything down, talked a little bit about the state of the organization in that video as well. So go make sure to check that out. I just posted it like an hour ago, right when I clicked on it to be uploaded. This news popped and I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So we're in the same fit, same everything, because we're rocking 2 videos today. So welcome on in. Make sure that you guys subscribe. 75% of you who are watching these videos aren't, so join the 25%. Trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community here on YouTube. Okay, let's get into the report. This has been confirmed. After undergoing further evaluation, including an MRI, Magic guard Jalen Suggs has been diagnosed with a trochlea injury. Now, if you don't know what that is, neither do I, in his left knee, and he will be out indefinitely. Okay, here's what I have looked up. I'm no doctor, obviously, but the trochlea is a groove-like structure located on the distal end, the lower part, of the femur, which is the thigh bone. It plays a crucial role in the movement and stability of the knee joint. So obviously he's been dealing with this injury for, I don't even know how long now, but it's been a while. He's been out for a fair amount after he kind of put the team on his back a little bit there when Franz went down and was able to help the Magic stay above water a little bit. And his body has just seems to has given out at this point, and he's going to be out potentially, as he's out indefinitely. But you know, I'm thinking that this is going to be for the rest of the season. I don't see why he would come back right now. I just don't think it's worth it, just with everything going on as far as the Magic not even being a top 6 seed. We might not see him come back. So obviously there are a lot of angles to look at this from. Suggs now is building a major reputation for injuries, unfortunately, in his career, and this is definitely something to keep an eye on going into the offseason because we just paid him a lot of money, and he has been improved this year. Let's talk about a little bit of what he did this season for the Magic. Look, he improved. He was not the table setter that Paolo Banchero wanted this year, but his playmaking was up, and he's still all defense, all world on defense, and his point total went up, and it just felt like he had a more efficient-ish year. I mean, I felt like he scored more at least. So he played better on offense. Felt like he was kind of getting into this groove at certain points in the year, and then it just kind of tailed off. And he had some other injury scares that happened as well, with his back spasms and everything like that. And it unfortunately will probably end here, where this is the cap on his season. Okay, so there are a ton of different ways to look at this going forward. Well, one, Anthony Black, I didn't actually mention this in the Warriors game, or the Warriors post game, but he did not play very well in that game. He was not something. It was Cole Anthony played decent in the starting lineup, and he had a hyperextended left knee. And that was just an amazing effort, but he wasn't statistically great. Anthony Black did not play very well. That was probably one of the signs that going forward we're going to need Jalen Suggs back, and we're not going to get him. So we're going to rely on those two guys. Jett Howard was the first player to come off the bench, and that was something that was interesting by Jamahl Mosley, and we'll have to wait and see what that evaluation of the young talent is and what exactly this guard rotation looks like. I think Mac McClung will almost certainly be called up at this point, and I think he deserves it. Now, he was active for the Warriors game, but I'm thinking he's going to stay up. He's going to be up full time because this team needs guards. We simply don't have enough. Why would you want to even throw out KCP any more minutes than he already gets? 34 minutes in this last game. I mean, I don't see that going up, even with Jalen Suggs continuously being out. Like nothing changes there, in my opinion. And Tristan da Silva, he got 3 minutes last game. That's going to have to go up. We're going to have to see what we have in these young guys. And if Tristan da Silva, if he can't play more than 3 minutes in this game or in a game in this season, like while we're trying to win and make it into the play-in or make a run to the 6th seed, then maybe we don't have anything in him, right? So we'll have to see what the evaluation looks like for the young talent as well as the guard play. Sorry if that was a little all over the place. A lot to look at here. A lot of different angles, not all connected to Jalen Suggs. But the state of the organization. I just had a conversation about who are people blaming? Is it the front office? Is it Jamahl Mosley? Frankly, I think both are going to get a pass, and I don't think anybody's gone. So I don't really think it's important to talk about it anymore, because with Jalen Suggs going out, that means that Suggs, Banchero, and Wagner played 6 games this season together if Suggs does not return. That is probably one of those sample sizes where you can kick the ball down the road and bring everybody back if you're ownership. And I'm kind of okay with that. I don't really want to see Jamahl Mosley get fired, even as is, even with Suggs coming back or however the season ends. And Weltman, I'm not a fan at all, but at a certain point, you say, well, 6 games together, plus the Mo Wagner injury. I mean, shoot, yeah, go on ahead. We'll run it back, see if we can patch things up in the offseason and actually make a jump. And also, we don't know how the season's going to end, even without Suggs. So I don't think anybody's gone. But the state of the franchise. Well, there was just recently a very viral tweet going around about the Magic shooting coach's resume. And as we all know, the Magic are also sponsored by Advent Health, and it took a while to get this injury figured out. And we just always seem to have the worst injury luck. Maybe not always a direct correlation to injury management, but something that people are really starting to keep an eye on. I made a video earlier in this season talking about just the management for some of the players and what people have been talking about. I remember when Franz and Paolo both had their oblique injuries. I thought it was very, very weird. I didn't know if something was truly going on, because it was just such a crazy coincidence that you're just thinking, no way, there has to be a blame. Sometimes coincidences happen. And other times, these players, they're just going to get hurt. And if you're just destroyed by injuries, that's just is what it is. It happens every year. The Sixers are dealing with pretty bad injury luck this year too, right? But I don't know. So how will we look back on this season? Separate from the viral stuff that's going around, and separate from the unfortunate part that we didn't find out about this earlier, that he could potentially make a return. I mean, he's out indefinitely. He's not out for the season. But separate from all of that and what we could potentially get to, I think this team has 2 bona fide all-stars, and Paolo and Franz. And I think we're going to look back at this season and say, if we can just sign Paolo in the offseason, we still have a core together that should be pretty darn good. And I think those 2 guys, Paolo and Franz, are a serious step above Jalen Suggs at 3. It's, it's 1 and 1A kind of. And then it's like a fair distance, and then it's Suggs at 3. And then I think you can see what young guys you got, and then I think it's time to make some moves. I think Jalen Suggs is going to get shut down for the season, and that means that we can start looking at some of the other players that we could potentially get rid of. Maybe Caleb Houston, maybe Corey Joseph, Gary Harris. Do we try to deal KCP? Does somebody want him, say, like, oh, he could be good for us, not you guys, in a separate situation? We'll take him on an expiring contract. Maybe that's something, that happens. Maybe we get athletic wings and guards in the draft and free agency, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's really unfortunate news. I think we're going to look back at this season differently based off of how we take advantage of some of the positions that we're going to be in. Are we going to just drop completely out of it, right? Like, who knows? Like, I have no idea, but just depending on how we take advantage of it, I think we're going to look back at this season in different lights. But I think overall, it's definitely been a bit of a crash and burn, worst case scenario for the entire season. And I don't really see this team going anywhere beyond the first round of the NBA playoffs, unfortunately, especially without Suggs. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Awful news today. But as always, I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.